Happy Halloween! This is Halloween. This is Halloween. 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 Okay, I'm not gonna sing for the entire video, but I'm excited to announce that this month is Halloween month, and all throughout the month of October, I'm gonna be playing the scariest and creepiest games of the season, and I can think of no better way to start off the season than with an NES classic. I'm of course talking about Castlevania! Castlevania is an action platforming game developed and published by Konami and came out for the Nintendo Entertainment System in North America on April 30th, 1987. It stars vampire hunter Simon Belmont, who goes on a journey to defeat the evil Count Dracula. It went on to get a share on the NES and various titles across many platforms like Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, PlayStation, Nintendo 64, and countless others. Castlevania was literally made to be played during Halloween. So without further ado, this is Castlevania. The game starts off with Simon marching along towards the gates of Dracula's castle to some delightfully 8-bit music. From there we have the controls. A is jump, B controls the whip, and holding up and B will use your projectile weapon. You collect hearts, which will actually match it instead of health, which is kinda weird as the whole time I'm playing I'm expecting my health gauge to go up every time I collect a heart. Zelda has shaped me wrong for this game. You have a lot of enemies appearing on the screen from either side of you, from ghouls and goblins to ghosts to bats and even Medusa heads, which might be the most annoying enemy in the whole game. And you know, despite being a vampire hunter, he actually fights very few vampires. Unlike future titles, the whip only goes in one direction depending on which way you're facing, and you can only get shorter enemies by ducking with the down D-pad performing your whip attack. Of course it was the NES, so some missions weren't plausible yet. The first boss you face is a giant bat. He's actually pretty easy if you just stand on the right side of the screen and throw daggers at him until he's dead. Of course, this will require you to find the dagger weapon on your way to the boss. Otherwise, he's a lot harder when all you have to use is your whip. After you defeat him, an orb is sharp and you proceed to the next phase of the game. Speaking of this, who goes vampire hunting with a whip? The second stage is a tad bit harder than the first. This time you have suits of armor, the Medusa head like I mentioned before, statues that breathe fire, objects that will crush you if you're underneath them, and of course the second boss, a giant flipping Medusa head. It's a good thing looking her in the eye doesn't turn you to stone. The story is rather simple. It's just Simon Belmont going to Dracula Castle in the middle of the night to slay him once and for all, not knowing that they would go on to have many more classes after this, and that it would be the Belmont family destiny to vanquish Dracula again and again and again. The graphics really aren't all that special. Needless to say, being made in 1987 has dated this game quite a bit. Simon is mostly defined by one or two colors that contrast the rest of the screen, though the design does a good job of creating that feeling of shared isolation over what kind of monster you're going to run into next. The sound and music is iconic, from that classic Castlevania beat to the mini song that plays when you lose a life. It puts you in the mood to play and get you pumped up for some monster slaying action. Now, I have to say, sadly, there are some flaws. The controls are a tad bit stiff at times, and there are so many enemies on the screen it's almost impossible to not get hit. Not to mention that there's some cheap difficulty spike that whenever you get hit, you leap backwards. And if you're in front of a pitfall or something, you fall right off the ledge into your death. And some objects will kill you dead regardless of how much health you have. That said, the game is still pretty good despite being somewhat dated on graphics. Gameplay is solid for the most part and the difficulty is doable if you have time to learn the patterns and get good at it, like was the case with all the 8-bit wonders. And for Halloween, it's definitely worth a pickup. I gave this game a solid 7 out of 10. Yeah, I do number weightings now. Numbers are cool. Castlevania must be terminated. Who said that? I will not suffer Castlevania to live. Konami, I should have known. You are not part of this world. No, but I spent a lot of time on it. Is this game important? Important? What do you mean important? Over 1 million people play this game. Are they important? I got a better question for you. Is this game a threat? You're monitoring your whole library, right? Is this game a threat? No. Good. Now my next question. Is this game guilty of any crime by the laws of Konami? No. Alright. Now one more question. Is this game protected? You aren't the only developer who has tried to bury your own franchise before. There has been so many. The question you have to ask yourself is, what happened to them? Hello, I'm TJ. Basically, one. Looks like they bit off more than they can chew. Well, fans, you've seen the game, now show it for yourself. Until next time, I'm TJ, and I'll see you next week for more of Halloween month. Ta-ta for now.